Dan, we have to let you go. Those are the words that I heard from the HR department when I entered the room. I had come into a room just a few minutes before, and she smiled at me. But I could tell that that smile was fake. Usually we would joke and talk to each other friendly, but I could tell that this time it was different. When I entered the room and I looked to my left, I saw Nathan, and he was the manager of the company who was in charge of discipline. And all I could do was think in my head what I had done wrong and why he was there. And after a little while, I realized that I hadn't done anything wrong. And the only reason that I was in the room today was because they had to fire me. Now, it was nothing I did wrong, as I said, but it was because the company was going through a downturn and they could no longer afford to keep me on board. I had worked for this company for 3 years, and I worked hard. And I realized in that moment that I was going to lose my apartment, my car, and everything I had worked very hard for the last 3 years. My job was very exhausting. I worked in the shop of a trucking company doing mechanical work. So every day I came home tired, worn, and broken. And to be honest, I hated my job. I also was not very good at it. And it's extremely hard to admit that you failed at something. Getting told that they could no longer employ me was really surprising. And at that time, I was pretty desperate and sad. I had no idea what I was going to do. So I called up a friend of mine and I said, "Hey, Josh, I need a job." And he told me, "I'll see you on Monday." The problem was that that job was going to be for half of what I was making at the company I had just got laid off for. But I didn't think I had a choice. It took me 2 days to calm myself down and take a look at my situation and my life. And I asked myself, am I happy? Ask yourself, are you happy? I thought about the last 3 years, and I thought about my dreams, my goals, and my aspirations. And had I fulfilled any of those in the last 3 years? And the answer was no. You see, I had dreams of traveling the world. And more recently, in the last year, I had dreams to become a professional speaker. But I hadn't made any attempt to do either of those. I had built a little empire in my life. I had a great apartment, friends, I had art on the wall, I had a brand new car. And my father and I, we had started building a wooden boat from scratch. And that became a very lifelong passion that I will still have today. But I also made one of the best decisions of my life. And that was to join Toastmasters. My club in Anchorage, Alaska is called Greatland Toastmasters. And in my biased opinion, admittedly, it's the best club in the world. Those members, they became my friends. And not only my friends, but my family. I became the club's vice president of public relations, and I was also the chair for my district's October conference this year. And I did all of that within the first 6 months of joining Toastmasters. Despite all of these things, my life being full of friends and family and activities, I was still unfulfilled, and I was still unhappy. That weekend that I lost my job, I made a decision that would change the course of my life. I would give up my boat, I'd give up my friends, I'd give up my family, and I would sell everything I owned to travel the world. But that also included giving up my beloved Toastmasters Club. Making that decision was easy, but putting the plan into action was actually ruthless. I downsized to only what I could fit on my backpack, which is about 50 pounds, and I got rid of everything else. I sold the boat, sold the car, I even sold my clothes. And I got about 1/4 of what it was actually worth. I had to give up the groups that I helped establish because I was part of 2 nonprofits in Anchorage that I helped start. I had to leave those behind as well. And I don't know about you, but having to tell your mother that you're leaving the country and possibly not coming back was close to impossible. The day that I left for the airport, she cried. And she grabbed a hold of me, and she wouldn't let me go. Well, making my mother cry and breaking her heart was not one of my lifelong goals. I had a plan, though. See, my situation is a bit unique because I am part of a website called Couchsurfing.com. Maybe you've heard of it. And this website connects travelers with locals who kindly take them into your home for free. It's kind of like an Airbnb, but you don't get paid. I never got the memo that I could charge for hosting in Anchorage, Alaska. And for 3 years, I was the most frequent host in Alaska. I hosted approximately 200 people. My hope is to stay with people in every country that I visit. And maybe I'll sleep on your couch tonight. We'll see. I'm going to see every major continent on Earth. Since leaving a month ago, I have swam in the beautiful oceans of Hawaii. I witnessed the lava flow from the volcano and touched the Great Pacific Ocean. That was one of the greatest moments of my life. I also got to see some of the greatest space observatories that the United States has. I also saw the beautiful country of Japan. I stood in awe of the amazing temples and shrines that they have there. I walked under the great skyscrapers of Tokyo. And soon, I'm going to visit China. And I'm going to stand on the Great Wall. Not only that, I have had the luxury of visiting Taiwan, where your guys' hospitality is absolutely astounding. I'm going to walk on the beaches of the Philippines. I'm going to cross Australia from west to east, and I'm going to walk on top of the mountaintops in New Zealand. That's just in the first year. Imagine the places that I'm going to go, and please imagine the places that you could go. I want to get to know the people's culture. I want to know what you do for fun. I want to learn about what makes life grand for each and every one of you. And maybe I will fill the restlessness that resides inside me. Perhaps I'll find love. I don't know. I have no idea where I might sleep tomorrow. But that is one of the greatest feelings I've ever had. I am free. I am free of debt. I'm free of obligations. And I'm free of expectations. I have to answer to nobody except for the great country's laws that I reside in. I plan to set foot on every continent on Earth. I'm probably going to get certified to teach English, and that could very well provide me with the opportunity to travel forever, if I choose. You see, when you dare to dream the impossible, it can become reality. Bend your existence to your own will, and magical things may happen. Just maybe, one day, I will see you on an exotic beach somewhere. Thank you.